Let's talk about journeys. If the content in your emails is great, then people will open and read them. So click here to edit the content in your journey. To add a brand new journey, just click here. Now that's pretty easy, so let's edit an existing journey instead. There are 3 important icons next to each journey. This one is called a behavior and it's really cool, but it's a little bit advanced, so we won't go through it now. These 2 icons are a little confusing. This one here lets you edit the journey as a whole, but this icon here lets you edit each individual episode. Let's edit each individual episode in this particular journey. Okay, so on the left, you can see all the different episodes for this particular journey. As you scroll down, you will see the properties for each episode. For example, this episode is set to go out 14 days after the previous episode. You can also see the subject line, who it comes from, etc., etc. Now this current episode is active. For me to edit it, I need to deactivate it first. This makes sure it doesn't get sent while I'm busy editing it. Click deactivate and you can update it using this button. Now you can clearly see that this is episode 3 of the journey. Here is the subject line, here's who the mail comes from, etc., etc. Now this content box is where you're going to edit your content. Now there are some advanced features in this content box. For example, replace fields here, which will personalize the email. Okay, so this is where the expiry date is. And you're only going to use this if you want the email to expire at a later date. That means it'll skip this episode of the journey. You won't use this very often. Then you can specify the time which you want your emails to be sent out and the priority. The delivery day here is the most important tool because you can set when you want this episode to go out in relation to the previous. For example, this email is set to go 14 days after the previous episode. Moving up to the look and feel, this is where the graphics behind your email is set up. You have to build a look and feel first before you can apply your pretty design to a particular email. Okay, to finish off, as I said before, there are some advanced features of content that I want to quickly touch on. I already mentioned replace fields. These are where you can personalize the content of the email with data already in Majestic. First name is by far the most common. Dear Scott, Hi Scott, etc. The 2 other components I want to mention here are tracking links and images. Images are stored in the Documents and Images library in the Data tab. Once you've uploaded them to this tab, you can then add them to your email using this tab here. And last but not least, tracking links. Remember, don't create an email unless you use a tracking link. Tracking links are found here in the Relationship tab, and they allow Majestic to track if a link has been clicked. Link clicks will appear on your reports and within Jess, and it's really useful to see who has clicked on a link in your email. So instead of putting a URL directly into this box, rather do it via a tracking link. Okay, so that's the basics of journeys. Now click here if you want to preview what this particular episode looks like, but just remember to save your work and reactivate a journey once it's complete. Now, a huge word of warning. If you activate a journey, it might start sending straight away, so be really careful when you activate it. Always ask yourself, is anyone scheduled to get this journey if I activate it? We'll show you to test journeys and some really cool advanced features in later episodes. But for now, go and reward yourself with a couple of pancakes.